Okay, here are the answers to the homework. So you can go ahead and pause the video while you check. And then if there's questions, either some of you can volunteer to put them up on the board, or the sub should have answer keys. Okay, so I'd like for you to work through the first two here, and then pause the video, and then you can press play to hear the answer. Okay, so to change from log to exponential, remember you start with that base number, which is a little subscript, and then the order goes in the counterclockwise motion. So it's 3 to the 4th power equals x. And then when it's in the exponential form, you need to change it to the log. Remember, we always start with the base number. So for this particular problem, the base number is kind of listed second. So if you need to, you can kind of flip-flop the equation and write the base first. So it's 3 to the negative third equals 1 over 27. And then you can do that counterclockwise motion. So it's log base 3 of 127 equals negative 3. And for this one, you can check your answer and verify that you're correct by log of the tall number divided by log of the smaller number, and it should equal the right side. Okay, so let's take a look at two more with natural logs. So go ahead and change to exponential for the first, and then change to the log form for the second. Okay, so remember, when it's the natural log, it's the same as log base e. So if you do your little counterclockwise motion, you start with the base of e. So anytime it's natural log, your base is e, then it's to the x power equals 7. Here, when it's a base of e, instead of writing the natural log of e, you'll write, or log base e, you'll write as a natural log, and then it's of x equals the 4. Okay, so here's our next set. This is where you can use your calculator to type in and come up with your answers. Okay, so for this one, remember it's a log of the taller size number 64. Make sure you close the parentheses, divide the log of the smaller number. That gives you an answer of 6. The second one, just type it in exactly as it's written, and we should get a decimal of 4.83. Okay, here we're going to go ahead and write it in the expanded form. Okay, so first thing, since we had 3 variables attached with the log, when we separate or expand it, we should have 3 logs, one for each of the variables. So since the x squared and the y are being multiplied together, we're going to expand it using addition. So it'd be log base 3 of x squared plus log base 3 of y. And then if we're dividing by the z cubed, we'll expand that using subtraction. And once we've expanded everything using addition or subtraction, your last step is to take any of those exponents and move those out front. Okay, so let's take a look at the condensed form. And let's do the second one here. Oops. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so here to condense, you want to simplify inside the brackets or parentheses first. So since the 2 logs are being added together, we're going to condense those using multiplication. So it would be x times the x minus 1. Then we'll take that exponent, or the number that's out front, and we're going to move it so it becomes the exponent. And it's going to become the exponent for that whole expression, the x times the x minus 1. And remember, when we're taking something to the 1/2 power, it's the same as taking the square root of it. And then if we're dividing that x plus 2 term, or sorry, if we're subtracting the x plus 2 term, we're going to condense it using division. So that should be your answer in blue. Okay, then let's take a look at, again, using our properties and our calculators to help us find the exact value of the log. Okay, so when we're trying to find the exact value, we can go ahead and change that radical to a fraction exponent. So instead of the square root of 27, it would be 27 to the 1/2 power. Now, some of you might try and type this in like the log of the taller number divided by the log of the smaller number. That's fine, you can do that. But when you type it in, it's a log of 27 to the 1/2 power. You need to make sure you include that, close the parentheses, and then divide it by the log of 3. The other way is kind of continuing to use our properties, is we take whatever that exponent is and we'll move it out front. So it becomes 1/2 times the log base 3 of 27. Then that log expression you can type into your calculator, the log of 27 divided by the log of 3. It gives you an answer of 3, and then we multiply that 3 by the 1/2 out front. So you either get the fraction answer of 3/2 or a decimal of 1.5. Okay, and then let's take a look at our last one. Okay, so this one we could have approached it 2 ways. You could have right off the bat typed this into your calculator, hit your ln key, then to get the e to the 5th power, you hit second ln, and then type in your exponent of 5. Once you do that, it gives you an answer of 5. You can do the same thing with the second expression, type in the natural log of e to the 3rd, it gives you an answer of 3, and then once we subtract, we get an answer of 2. The other way is if we use our properties, we can combine these or condense those to a single log. So since they're being subtracted, we can simplify using or condense them using division. And then e to the 5th over e cubed, we can simplify that down to e to the 2nd. From here, you can type this into your calculator or continue with the properties. Take that exponent of 2 and move it out front. 2 times the natural log of e. The natural log of e is always 1. So 2 times 1 gives you 2. Okay, one last one, and this will kind of just practice the homework that you just had, and it's solving the equation. Okay, so this is a log equation because we just have the logs on one side. So before we change it to exponential, we need to condense those to a single log. So since the two logs are being added, we're going to condense them together using multiplication. Now that I have a single log on one side, we need to change to exponential form. So we start with the base number of 10 to the 2nd power equals the x times x minus 21. Then from here, 10 squared becomes 100. Then I distribute out the x, so it's x squared minus 21x. And then since it's a quadratic, we want to set the equation equal to 0. So we subtracted the 100. And then we can factor what multiplies to a negative 100 and adds to a negative 21 is a negative 25 and a positive 4. When we set each of those equal to 0 and solve, we get the two answers of 25 and negative 4. When I plug in the 25 for both my x's, it's going to simplify to positive numbers, so I can take the log of a positive, so that works. But when I plug in the negative 4 for either of the x's, I get a negative answer, and remember, we can't take the log of a negative, so we have to throw out that negative 4. Okay, so the rest of the time then will be for you guys to go ahead and work on the study guide.